Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Clone Command Star Wars Podcast. Yeah, it's just me today. It's gonna be a kind of a short one, just my immediate reaction on the Acolyte Episode 1. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna be a bit behind because summer's pretty busy. But here are my initial thoughts. So I watched the first one, basically just kind of give a rundown of the episode. Um, it was actually kind of bizarre, but essentially, there's this like assassin, and she goes into this like tavern, tries to kill a Jedi, and actually ends up like successfully killing her, but just knives. And then she has like a twin, and the twin gets like framed for it. The Jedi hunt her down and find her. It's actually like all really sudden, and I don't understand why it happened that fast. It was really quick. I feel like they should have taken more time to just set it up. But yeah. And then they bring. And then there's like this Sith Lord, and the twin, the assassin twin, like meets a Sith Lord. Is interesting. But anyways, so my thoughts. I thought it was really interesting. I thought the dialogue was like really choppy and like awkward and stiff, kind of like the dialogue. It was a lot different than in most modern Disney shows. They were like The Mandalorian, for example, or like take Andor or something like that. Like it's very real dialogue. But the dialogue in at least the first episode, it really seemed kind of like formal, or like I don't understand. I understand it's like Jedi and they're at the Jedi Temple, but like it just seemed really awkward. Like the dialogue just in general seemed kind of awkward. Besides that, I mean, it was a kind of funny show. Like it made me laugh sometimes. I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was abhorrent. I don't think it was bad. Um, I actually didn't mind it. It was actually like kind of enjoyable to watch. I thought it was just interesting that they pushed a confrontation between the twins so quickly. I thought that might not have been the best idea, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, so all in all, definitely recommend watching it just to watch it. I mean, I have heard that it gets more controversial as the episodes go on, so we'll see. I'll probably be watching episode 2 maybe today or tomorrow. But yeah, I definitely recommend watching it. And yeah, so I hope you all just have a great day. May the force be with you, and remember, good soldiers follow orders. All right, hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Clone Command Star Wars Podcast. So this is just gonna be a little quick one. Just my immediate reaction to Acolyte. Sorry guys, it's late. Acolyte episode 2. So I watched it, and yeah, it was just there. I don't know. So honestly, the dialogue got better. It didn't seem as choppy, as stiff. It seemed slightly more natural, which is good. Um, I love how. Well, I don't love it. It was just something weird. I noticed that every single time a Jedi like comes into a room where there's a bad guy, using quotation marks, they just immediately whip out their lightsaber. And I feel like that kind of directly contradicts even other Disney media, but who knows? They're definitely trying to portray the Jedi as bad and evil. It's just obvious at this point, and yeah, it's interesting. I mean, honestly, I mean, obviously, the Republic had its corruptions, but I also feel like the Jedi weren't all that bad. Um, yeah. So besides that, I mean, it's getting better. I have heard that episode what's it called? Episode 3 is pretty controversial, and I've also heard episode 4 is controversial because that came out 2 days ago, I think. And I've heard some reviews on it. So, yeah, that was my immediate reaction on episode 2. Actually, I have some more to say. Never mind. I thought that the one part I did think was cool was that Jedi who had been meditating for 10 years or whatever. Something. Okay, hear me out. This feels like a season 2 of a series, in my opinion. This feels kind of um it feels like we should already have some background knowledge of what's happening. It feels like they just kind of dropped us into the storyline, and I don't know what the heck's happening. Like, they're talking about these things, and I'm like, yeah, I just really don't know what that is. I feel like some flashbacks would have been nice to at least get like a general idea of what was happening, because I really have no clue. Like, why is she going? Like, why are these Jedi? Yeah, I don't know. She's like killing random Jedi, but I know there's a reason she's killing Jedi. So I don't know. That is just something that would be nice to understand. But yeah. So, anyways, that's my opinion. Or my immediate reaction. Guys, it's really late. I'm sorry. That's my immediate reaction to Acolyte Episode 2. And yeah, I'll probably end up watching 3 maybe after this weekend. Like I said, it's going to be very slow. I'm working on next week, so it's going to be kind of slow. Don't know how soon I'll get all these episodes out, but I will get all the episodes out at some point. All right, so hope you'll have a great day, and remember, may the force be with you, and remember that good soldiers follow orders. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Clone Command Star Wars Podcast. So I recently just watched the 3rd episode of The Acolyte, and to say I've been hearing some bad things. I didn't spoil it. I watched it as a genuine reaction. My initial thoughts, without regarding any biases or anything like that. So just the phrase, the force is a thread, I mean, that really threw me off. Because at least the way it's always been explained to me is the force is like God, essentially, right? The force is kind of God. And the way the force is a supreme being, and it's just like this consciousness kind of, I don't know. But like you weren't able to use the force allows itself to be used. You do not make the force allow it to use you, But the witches are saying that they can pull the thread. So no, you can't. I don't know what that means. And I don't know if I like that. I don't know. I really wish, what they're saying doesn't make sense if it's not consistent with modern or just Star Wars in general. It's just not consistent. And also, another thing I noticed is the witches in the actual, I don't know what these witches are, because they call themselves witches. They're not Dathomirian witches. They are not Night Sisters. I don't know what they are. Yeah. And also, the character motivations are extremely weird. Why one twin who has lived on the one planet her whole life with a bunch of other witches wants to leave the planet and become a Jedi, I have no freaking clue. But for some reason, she does. And that's really weird. Why the deranged sister wanted to kill everybody and thought it'd be a good idea to light her sister on fire in a locked room. Another good question. Also, how a small localized fire like that managed to burn down the whole entire thing. That was really interesting. And I did like the portrayal of Jedi. That was good. I always love. That was just like it wasn't necessarily like good, but it was just different. It was different than what we normally see. So yeah, that was good. Like seeing that. Not much besides that. Like I said, that it's getting less and less worth it to watch it, in my opinion. If anyone's wondering, it's just kind of like, it doesn't have a Star Wars feel to it. It doesn't feel like Star Wars anymore. I don't know. It just, and I get it. It's supposed to be like a different genre, kind of, and I totally love expanding Star Wars. This is a thriller. Making Star Wars thrillers, making Star Wars. I don't know if you're into horror movies, making horror movies. I don't know, but I don't. But make it feel like Star Wars still. It's expanded so much to the point where it just doesn't feel like Star Wars anymore. I don't know why. Yeah. Anyways, those are just my initial thoughts. Once I do episode 4, I'm probably gonna have Calvin on. And we're gonna record an episode on our general view of all of them. But for now, that is my review on episode 3. I'm probably going to be watching episode 4 again today. So yeah, I will talk to y'all late. Well, see y'all. Like, you'll hear me later. Yeah, that makes more sense. You'll hear me later on the next episode. So hope you all have a great day, and remember, may the force be with you, and good soldiers follow orders. Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Clone Command, a Star Wars podcast. So I'm a bit sick, so if my voice sounds weird, that's probably why. So this is my immediate reaction to the Acolyte episode 4. So I'm just gonna look at it besides the obvious canon breaking things in it. And just go to say that it wasn't a terrible episode, but it also lacked depth, and there wasn't as much complexity to it. It was just very simple. In my opinion, there was no reason for May to turn and not want to kill a Jedi, and just like she went on a walk and decided that she was gonna, I don't know, not kill Jedi. So that was weird. Yeah, besides that, the episode was just meh. It wasn't really that good. But then the obvious canon breaking things, such as Plo Koon, or not Plo Koon. Plo Koon wasn't in the episode though. That was really cool. Ki-Adi-Mundi being in there when he wasn't supposed to be alive and wasn't even supposed to know that the Jedi were real. Who knows? Maybe they'll put something in there about Ki-Adi-Mundi being a secret Sith. Yeah. Oh yeah, and as always, Professor Snape proceeds to be the best character in the show so far, casually manipulating everybody. It's awesome. Yeah. Honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. I mean, it's still terrifying that this is what Star Wars has become, but it's honestly not as bad as I thought. So, yeah. Well, in my opinion, wasn't that bad of an episode, besides the obvious lore-breaking things and the no... Okay, never mind. That's pretty bad of an episode. I just genuinely don't understand why, May changed sides. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, besides that, yeah, it wasn't... I guess I'm ready to watch episode 5 now. So, yeah. Hope you all have a great day, and remember, good soldiers follow orders, and may the force be with you. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Clone Command, a Star Wars podcast. So, I just recently watched Acolyte episode 5, and here's my immediate reaction to it. So, basically, the duel was not bad. I've heard a lot of people hating on it. And I mean, obviously there's some technical issues when it comes to actual sword fighting and how that wouldn't work. But this is Star Wars, guys. It isn't actually, this isn't real war, you know? This is Star Wars. A little bit of fiction's allowed. So, honestly, the duel was sick. Professor Snape was the Sith, and that was pretty obvious, the way he was manipulating everybody. But low-key, he doesn't make a bad Sith. I think he's a pretty good Sith, honestly. When he took his mask off, it was definitely better, because his mask just kind of made him look like a generic, he looked like one of the Knights of Ren, honestly, in my opinion. But also, he had this weird power where the Jedi's, lightsabers would just stop, and I think that had something to do with his mask, but I might be wrong. Also, if my voice was weird, that's because, I'm sick, so... Yeah. But basically, all around, thought it was a good episode. There are a few other things I would like to discuss that I didn't really enjoy. One of those was, sorry, it's my Discord going off. One of those was the fact that May just decided to take Osha's place for some reason. There's no motivation, right? She just chose to, and I thought that May was done with her revenge on the Jedi, so I have no clue why she's taking Osha's place. But yeah, that was an interesting turn. What else? Honestly, besides that, Probably the fact that 5 Jedi couldn't take on one Sith when we literally see Mace Windu, CAC-10, Kit Fisto, and then the other dude take on Chancellor Palpatine and win. They have him pinned. Whether or not Chancellor Palpatine was fakey or not, whatever. But regardless, I mean, Mace Windu was the best duelist in the galaxy. That's true. But I'll have to check and see, but weren't all? I mean, Master Soul was like, I mean, he's a Jedi Master, right? I mean, surely he would have been able to take him out. But yeah. So that's really just my thoughts on Episode 5. Like all in all, it wasn't really that bad of an episode, to be honest. I've seen a lot of people bashing it, but honestly, it wasn't that bad, and it kind of got me re-interested in the show because I really want to see what May's motivation is for switching places with Osha. It just doesn't. It kind of denies logic, honestly. So yeah, that is what I would like to see in the show, and I'm kind of excited to see that. So thank you all for watching or listening. Thank you all for listening, and hope you all have a great day. And remember, may the force be with you, and remember, good soldiers follow orders. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Clone Command, Star Wars podcast. So, I just finished watching the Acolyte Episode 6, and in all honesty, not much happened. It was really just progression of the story, but here are my thoughts, just initially. So, for one, I do not see what Soul's thinking is in not actually going to the Jedi and trying to solve this. It doesn't seem. I mean, Soul is a very what you would call a flawed character, and it's very evident that he's flawed. And the show hints at that a lot. But regardless, he does seem to be completely believing in the Jedi way, and I don't see him not going to the Jedi. I mean, regardless, he did, so it doesn't matter what I see him doing. But yeah, so I thought that was an interesting kind of like turn of events. Also, honestly, besides that, there really wasn't that much that happened, to be honest. I totally assumed that they would accuse Soul of killing all those Jedi. That honestly makes a lot of sense. I probably would have thought that if you just gave me no context and Soul was the only one who survived. And that makes a lot of sense. But besides that, the show was just getting weirder and weirder and more odd. Like, there's no conclusion to the story. At first, the conclusion I thought was going to be when they caught the assassin and somehow converted her. But obviously, that's not happening. And now this new Sith, and we now hear that he was formerly a Jedi, right? So a fallen Jedi. And he wants the rule of 2. So power of 2, right? So 2, an apprentice and a master, or master and apprentice. So that's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting development because I was always wondering about that because I thought Plagueis was supposed to be like master at the time or apprentice at the time. I can't remember. I don't know. It's in one of the canon books, I'm pretty sure. But yes, that was very interesting. Honestly, besides that, it wasn't too bad of a show. It wasn't that good either. It was really just a filler episode. So yeah, I will be back with episode 7 review. I've been hearing it's kind of controversial, so yeah, we'll see about that. Anyways, hope you all have a great day. Remember, good soldiers follow orders, and may the force be with you. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Clone Command, a Star Wars podcast. So, just want to, before we actually get into the episode, I just want to address something real quick. So I know our release schedule has been pretty inconsistent. I apologize for that. It's summer. I'm pretty busy, so it'll probably be like that until I can get a regular schedule down once the year starts up again after summer. So today, in this episode, I'm going to review the Acolyte Episode 7. So I'm just kind of going to set the scene a little bit. So this is essentially Episode 3 of the Acolyte. So it's a flashback to 16 years ago. They even reused some of their scenes, so it's kind of like a lazy episode. But we did learn a lot more about the episode, seeing it from a different perspective, so it kind of paid off. First off, I do have some complaints about it. Number one, they never really explained why Torben wanted to get back why Torben wanted to get back to Coruscant so bad. And to be honest, it really just didn't make sense for the character. Um, just like no discipline when it comes to Torben, and I understand there's probably some Jedi like that, but I don't know. You just would have thought that would have been taught to him, especially Andara, who seems to be a very powerful Jedi, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, so that was interesting. Torben, don't know where the motivations come from for that, but yeah, there's some interesting fan theories out there that I will not say on this podcast. And another thing is, I've heard a lot of people kind of dissing Soul for like taking out the Witch Mother, but it's like, and they're obviously trying to like show the Jedi's being the bad guys, the intruders, and the witches are just there to, you know, be nice, and I don't know, they just want to live their life. And then you know, they also turn into demons and try to possess your mind. You know, but that's good. That those are good powers, not bad powers. You know, trying to like make the Jedi seem corrupt, which I guess they are, kind of, but they still are morally good. And I mean, that's how George Lucas explains it. I mean, it's essentially, I mean, if you think about humans, um, I don't know, never mind, my bad. Back on topic. Sorry. So yeah, that was interesting. The fact that they're dissing Soul for killing a demon or a lady who turned into a demon, and then started dissolving another child. That would be a major problem. Personally, and that seems just like a bizarre, very bizarre thing to critique about the show. Or like, I don't know. It's just they're trying to portray the Jedi as like these evil intruders on that planet, and you know they're trying to, and it's not, they're not even doing a good job of it either. It's like a lot of the things they do make sense, besides Torben being stupid. But yeah. Last complaint I have. Well, no, two more. Sorry, guys. This show is kind of ridiculous. One. So she starts the fire, right? She starts the fire in the mining complex. Someone tell me why stone burns. I really want to know. You know, how does stone burn? Anyways, last thing. Um, by now, I mean, I know this episode's coming out kind of late. Considering that the Acolyte came out, or the last episode, the Acolyte came out like 2 weeks ago, but surely you guys by now have heard of the Andara head nod, where she just nods her head and all the witches die. Yeah, that's interesting. So surely she has to be the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, more powerful than Yoda, definitely, because she can just nod her head and the whole coven of witches just die. So yeah, something cool from the show though. I always like to pull something cool from the show that I actually kind of enjoyed. Would have to be Torben and Kelnaka's duel. That was pretty cool. And Soul, I guess. Soul was in the duel too. That wasn't that bad. And the witches had some strange arrows, which look actually kind of cool, and their bows look pretty cool too. But so yeah, besides that, did not like the episode at all. It was essentially episode 3. But yeah, so I have one more review to do, and then I think, if you guys remember Calvin from some of the past episodes, me and Calvin, hopefully sometime this week, will be doing a all episodes review, so full season, and just kind of be discussing it and talking about our thoughts and theories on it. And yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Just me and him hanging out. So yeah, hope you all have a great day. May the force be with you, and remember, good soldiers follow orders. Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Clone Command, a Star Wars podcast. So I just finished watching the Acolyte episode 8, and got some thoughts on it. So we're gonna talk about that. So first of all, you know, always like to say one thing I liked about it. I'm starting that now. And I did think that the duel in the show was actually pretty cool, between Kymir and Soul. That was pretty cool to see that. Sorry, this is my Discord going off. And it was pretty cool to see Kymir just like pull apart his lightsaber and get that tiny one. Yeah, so the duel was pretty cool. Besides that, I've got some major problems. So y'all know One of the problems with the show is the fact that the Jedi in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, they say, there have been no Sith for like a millennia. There's been no Sith for a long time. And yeah, so for that to work out in this show, someone would have had to have been lying, right? Candy Mundi, Yoda, because Vernestra at the end of the episode talks to Yoda and tells him everything. So that's a problem. Because that means Yoda's keeping secrets from the Jedi Council. And Leslie Headland has said, well, he did that before in the Clone Wars, and I'm going to have to look and see what episode she was specifically talking about, because maybe he did, but in my opinion, that's not how George created Yoda, right? Yoda's not perfect. He wasn't able to sense the Sith, right? He's not a perfect person. One flawed man. Sorry, another Acolyte quote. But he also, the way George created him is, he was a very moral person. He was the Grand Master, right? He was very moral. And I don't know. I just honestly, I can't see him doing that in the world George has created, and I'd love to see what he thinks about the Acolyte, honestly. Yeah, I just got problems with that. Another thing, Soul was completely innocent. He did it. I would have killed the mother too, bro. She turned into some smoke demon, and then the girl started disappearing, and then he stabbed her. I probably would have done that too, right? He did what he could with the information he had, and that makes sense. Honestly, logically, that kind of makes sense. So I don't know. Even knowing the full story, they're still dissing him. I understand they're trying to make the Jedi seem like evil and stuff, which I also have problems with that, because that's not how George made it. Obviously, it's a flawed system, but they're still, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out some just certain sect of Jedi stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I've got problems with that. But yeah, so I don't know, man. This show is interesting. Yeah. So me and Calvin, we're gonna be recording a full season review, probably pretty soon. So be looking for that next week. And yeah, may the force be with you, and remember, good soldiers follow orders.